either pass off the question to Jay or JJ, or you can take it yourself. First topic here.
Okay.
Who will have the bigger impact on this series, Steph Curry or Jason Tatum? Pass or take?
I'm going to pass this to JJ.
Oh, I appreciate that. Obviously both these guys are going to have a huge impact on this series. I talk all the time about Steph Curry being sort of the sun in the orbit of the Warriors universe. Ultimately, because I think the Celtics are going to win, Jason Tatum has to be the guy for them. He's got to have a huge series on both sides of the basketball. So ultimately, I think Tatum will have a bigger impact, and the Celtics will win the series.
Well, the first thing I want to say to you, JJ, is be very, very careful about the language you just used, because you brought up the sun and the orbit. You were starting to sound like Kyrie Irving there. You want to be careful about that. Want to be careful about that. That's
We
number
live
one,
in a
okay?
heliocentric solar
You just want to be careful about that.
We live in a heliocentric solar system.
You brought up the sun and the orbit.
Getting facts. I mean,
You brought up the sun and the orbit, so I'm just looking out for you, my brother. I'm just looking out for you. You want to be careful about that. Number two, I get where you're coming from. I still think it's going to be Steph Curry, because I think that Steph Curry has to in order for them to win this series.
Okay.
And I got him winning.
All right. Up next here, who's going to end up with more rings, Steph or LeBron? Stephen A., are you passing or taking this one?
Oh, I'm going to take this one.
Take it.
I believe that when all is said and done, Steph Curry will have more championships than LeBron James. I'm not happy about that. I'm not sad about it, because I love me some LeBron James too. But LeBron James is on the Lakers, and as both Jay Williams and JJ Redick have so eloquently stated on numerous occasions, look at the Lakers roster. Now let's look at the Golden State Warriors. They are in the finals. I'm picking them to win this one. If they do it, Steph Curry already ties LeBron James. Then let's look at the Warriors moving forward. Steph Curry will still be there. Klay Thompson will be even better next year. Jordan Poole will be even better next year. Kuminga will be better next year. Okay? Wiseman will return. Draymond Green ain't going anywhere, okay? And so when you look at it, you got Moses Moody, Gary Payton II. Look at this squad. I believe the Golden State Warriors are winning 2 of the next 3 NBA championships.
It's a tough task.
That will put Steph Curry past LeBron James.
Jay, well, what do you think?
I would agree.
Yeah?
I would agree. I think the core is intact. I mean, look, a lot depends upon what moves the Lakers front office needs to make as it relates to Russell Westbrook and some of the other pieces. But like for me, it's about that core has been intact for a very long time. And sometimes we overlook cores that understand what winning culture is all about, how to win that championship experience, and having 2 of the greatest shooters that the game of basketball has ever seen with a quarterback in Draymond Green with young pieces around it. So I would agree that the Warriors probably win more championships, but at the end of the day, we're having a conversation about LeBron James being the best player of all time.
Yeah.
Right? The Warriors could be one of the greatest dynasties we've
That
seen.
wasn't the question.
I understand. I'm
The
just giving
question
my
is, who
overall
finishes with
opinion
more
about the
rings?
question.
More rings. So
Who
you think
finishes
Steph's
with
going to
more
end up
More
with
rings
more
doesn't
rings?
equate to better.
We're
in
not
my
saying
opinion.
that, but you're saying Steph based on the team that he's on,
core,
the
yeah,
situation
sure.
he's in.
Yes.
JJ?
Sure.
I think it's probably more likely that Steph ends up with more rings. I agree with both of you guys. Steven, I have a question though. This is what I'm having a hard time figuring out. Why 2 of the next 3? Why not just the next 3? Why? I don't understand that part of it.
Because he wanted to teeter the line. He didn't want to go all the way over.
Why not 2 of the next 2? And by the way, we've talked about this a bunch already. But one of the reasons, the Warriors have this amazing championship window that's been extended now because of the development of Jordan Poole, because of guys like Kuminga, Andrew Wiggins starring in his role, Kevon Looney starring in his role. This is sort of vintage Warriors, what we saw in this first iteration of this dynasty in 2015 and 2016. They will be right there for the next several seasons. I get that. But let's acknowledge that the Dallas Mavericks, the Memphis Grizzlies, LA Clippers.
Listen to you.
Denver Nuggets.
Listen to you.
The West is going to be harder next year.
Pelicans.
It's going to be harder the year after that.
Hello.
It's going to be
Hold on,
harder
hold
the
on,
year
hold on,
after
hold
that.
on. What was your
Hello.
answer?
I think
He
it's
agreed.
No, I think it's
So
more
everybody thinks
likely.
it's Steph?
No, personally, what I
It's
think is they end up
likely.
with the same amount of championships. That's
The
what I
same?
think. Yeah, I think they both end up with
Molly,
4.
may I respond? May I
Of
respond,
course,
Molly?
sure. You have
Is
permission.
But
this
why-
not
I-
the
why
same
do-
JJ Redick? Hold on.
I just wanna-
Is this
I
not
wanna-
the same JJ Redick that just said why 2 or 3 instead of 3? You just told us why I could say 2 or 3 instead of all 3. Because of the competition. 3? 2 and 3 instead of 3 P.
He's just trying to mess
You
with you
just
because
told
he
us
thinks
why.
it's ridiculous, the 2 or 3.
It is ridiculous.
That's what he doesn't like
It's
your
not
take.
ridiculous.
He
Top
thinks
Gun.
your take's
Top Gun.
ridiculous.
Don't hedge,
That's what
just
this
own
is
it.
all about.
But Stephen A., you know what?
It's either 2 or 2 or 3 or 3. Let's
Wait,
go.
wait,
You know what I hate this
I said 2 or
conversation
3. Don't
does?
tell me what to do, Top Gun. Just because you got the top movie in America, don't do that.
You know what I hate about this conversation?
Whoa,
is because it takes away. I feel like it takes away from the greatness of LeBron James, and I'm not saying that
Will
any
you
of
stop
us.
with your
What?
emotion?
This is just a fun
I mean, I'm
little
gonna start
game
calling you
called
Dear
Pass It
Abby.
Around.
Will you
fun
stop
games
it?
with you people
Why
on
are
this
you-
show.
why are you
He's
doing
calling
this?
him Top
Why
Gun.
are you
He's
guys
yelling at
getting
people
all
for no
deep
reason.
and intellectual
Me
on it?
being
We're
diva,
playing
he's
a
saying
little
2
fun
out
for
of
the
3.
fans. Like, everybody take it down a
All
notch.
I'm saying is
Relax.
it tries to diminish the greatness of
Oh, my
LeBron James,
God.
getting
No
his team
one's
to the finals
diminishing
each and every year.
LeBron James.
All I'm trying to
We're just having fun.
both can be great at the same time.
Oh,
All
my
right, hold on.
goodness.
That's a fact.
All right.
Hold on, hold on.
That's
Molly,
actually-
I'm just
Can I
Molly.
move on? Yeah.
Molly J, can
Yeah.
we lower our voices and
See,
calm down?
talk reasonably.
It's important that we
Molly
do.
was yelling at me.
Okay, we're not
All right,
disrespecting LeBron James. We just
Essay,
talked about
I got another one for you. Oh my goodness. Pass or take, who's the better defender? Is it Draymond Green or Marcus Smart? Pass or take it?
I'm gonna pass this to Jay Williams.
I'll take it. So I think the experience factor people will give to Draymond Green, I will give it to him as well. But I'm biased because I am a guard. I think it's a combination of the defense and the role, because I think the role matters and responsibility matters. And I know for Draymond Green, he is the essential quarterback of the team. But I think Marcus Smart, Defensive Player of the Year, for a guy who's 6'2", 6'3", is out of this mind. The effort that it takes to sustain the pressure that you put on the ball the entire length of the court, to guard a guy like Stephen Curry, to have the physical toughness that he's had in these moments, I would have to go with Marcus Smart in this situation, because I think Marcus Smart has to deal with all these other things, initiating the offense, and the experience isn't there to the same degree that it is for Draymond Green. So once again, I'd say what you say?
Initiating the offense, that ain't the question. It's about the better defender.
Oh.
So my answer, Stephen A.
Don't get frustrated.
I'm not getting frustrated.
I'm
I just took a
teasing
second
you.
to pause. I just took a second to pause to compose myself, to not let Stephen A. get underneath my skin. My answer would be Marcus Smart, because of his ability to apply full court pressure, because of his ability to turn you on the perimeter. I don't see Draymond Green having those same skill sets. I see him more as a traditional big who can guard in the shot clock situations.
Well, in this particular instance, I think you are wrong. First of all, in fairness to Marcus Smart, he was not, as much as I'm happy for him because he's an incredible defensive player, he was not my defensive player of the year. It was Mikal Bridges for the Phoenix Suns. Having said all of that, Draymond Green would have been right there if he didn't miss so many games once he went down due to his injury earlier in the season. I think he had missed about 32 games, something along those lines. He missed a big chunk of games. Nevertheless, I look at Draymond Green as an undersized dude who is constantly called upon to defend bigger individuals constantly. And he vacillates back and forth. One time it's a bigger individual. Another time it's somebody that might be out on the perimeter. Draymond Green is switches sometimes. Sometimes he's forced to face guards. He does a lot of things to protect the interior of the Warriors defense. And I think that Draymond Green is one of the most versatile defenders we have ever seen in NBA history. I have him as a better defender than Marcus Smart.
All right, let's get GQ in here.
No, I can't believe
Top
that
gun.
I'm actually agreeing with Stephen A., but it does happen every now and then. I agree with you
Greatness
because
can't
I
be
do
denied.
think Draymond Green, what they're different defenders. I think his overall impact on this Warriors defense historically has been greater than Marcus Smart. I also agree with Jason Williams to a degree because I think guards and their defense and perimeter defense as it is gets undervalued by all of the metrics because all of the metrics favor blocks, favor steals, favor deflections, favor defensive rebounding. And obviously big guys have an advantage in all of those metrics, but specifically with defensive rebounding. It's why Rudy Gobert grades out so well analytically year to year. Draymond, specifically playoff Draymond, is as good of a defender as we've seen in NBA history. I firmly believe that. And the fact that he only has a Defensive Player of the Year award is a travesty.
So you agree with Stephen A. Say it.
Well,
I
he
said
kind
it.
of agreed with him.
Don't antagonize me.
Say it again.
You tell me I'm getting
Say it
angry.
again.
I know.
You tell
I
me.
agree with Stephen
He
A.
knows what he's
He does
doing.
it every
He knows what he's
time.
doing.
This is what he
I
does.
agree with
Stephen
Stephen
A., the Eagles in the sport.
I
It's
agree
just a
with
lot.
Stephen A.
It's a lot. It's a lot for one person to deal with. Hey, Stephen A., I don't know if you could see it, but it's not Jerry Jones' yacht, but I do have a ship back here, too. So there's just a lot happening that you're missing out on. So
Yeah, you know what?
It's unfortunate, but enjoy the bay.
And meanwhile, I'm seeing sharks and killer whales right in the Pacific over here.
Really?
You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. It's true. It's true.
You saw the sharks and
I ain't
killer
getting in
whales.
that water.
Oh, okay.
I ain't getting in that water.
Can't with
It's
this
sharks
guy.
and killer
This
whales up
guy.
in there.
And killer
Oh
whales.
my gosh, the drama. All right, we'll leave it there. Still to come
Yes,
on First
it's
Take.
true.